All right, crew, welcome back to the Creation Lab. Our first target for today is going to be, I can use rectangles and squares to write my name in block letters. For today, you are going to need a piece of paper, a pencil, and a straight edge. You can use a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use the edge of a journal or a book. Really anything that's straight. So the first thing I want to do is draw two very light parallel lines near the bottom. Now remember that word parallel, that means they don't cross. And I'm doing it lightly so I can erase it later. Nice and light. And then I'm going to make it about 3 inches, maybe, about 3 inches high. And remember, I want to make it parallel, right? As close to just as straight as the other one. All right, I have my two parallel lines. Now I'm going to use this space to write my name. And I want my letters to go to the bottom and to the top of all of these. So the first letter in my name is an R. So I'm going to just go from top to bottom, and I'm going to make a rectangle. There we go. Now, if we look at a capital letter R, and I'm doing this all in capitals, it has this like loop-de-loop piece, this kind of circle-ish piece right here. And so when I think about that, probably the best shape to make that, if my target says I can draw my name in block letters using squares and rectangles, I can probably just turn this into a square. So I'm going to go back. And right there I have my square. Now, here's the angled part. So I'm going to just draw a rectangle at an angle so it meets in the corner of that rectangle and square. All right, I have my R. And I'm going to use this method to write my whole name. All right, so I'm halfway through my name. There are 6 letters in my name, R-E-E. And I have rectangle, square, rectangle, rectangle, square, 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 rectangle, square, square, square. And now I'm getting to the V. And so again, I'm going to use that same idea, except of using a rectangle and kind of thinking about how I made my R over here. I'm going to have my V go to the bottom, except I'm going to just draw it all the way to the bottom, right? So it's kind of a lopsided rectangle. And then I can start at the other side. And then I have my V. Made it a little too tall there, I can fix that. All right, there we go. And you can see S, which can be kind of a hard letter to do because it's all curvy. But what I did is I just broke it into a rectangle here, a rectangle here, a rectangle here, and a square here, and a square here. All right? Great. So now I have all the letters of my name. The next thing I'm going to do is just go over all the letters of my name darker. And just the outside. I'm not going to do all the rectangles and squares, just the outline of each letter so they pop out. Boom! Darkened in, and those letters are popping out. Now, you can still see my light lines in there. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to erase all of those when I'm done. So let's move on to our second learning target. All right, our second learning target is I can use a vanishing point to make my block letters look 3D. So yesterday we talked about how train tracks are parallel lines. They never cross. Because if they cross, this is what happens, and that is no good. So train tracks are parallel lines. Just like we saw in our cubes, they are also made from parallel lines. But if that's the case, why do these train tracks look like they're about to cross? So to understand that, we need to talk about something called the horizon. The horizon is the line that it crosses the distance. It's where the sky meets the land. So thinking about parallel lines, these train tracks are two parallel lines, and they will always look like parallel lines because we're looking straight down from a bird's eye view. So even though we know that these train tracks never cross because they're parallel lines, it looks like they come together at the horizon where the sky meets the land. Where they come together is called the vanishing point. All right, crew, now that I've made my letters pop, I'm going to get my straight edge and I am going to draw my horizon. I'm just going to do that lightly with my pencil, right? And then about in the middle, I'm going to put an X on that line. And that is going to be my vanishing point, right? Just like we saw the train tracks vanish into each other, that's going to be my vanishing point. Even though I know those things will never, ever vanish. So what I want to do now is this is going to be the main point all of these other corners are going to go into. And so I'm going to start with these top corners right here. So I'm going to start with this corner right here. And I'm just going to take my straight edge. I'm going to line that up with the corner of here and my X. And I'm just going to lightly go over that. Boom, right there. And then I go to my next corner on my R, line that up with the middle of my X, and lightly go there. And I'm going to continue this for all of my letters. I have connected all the top corners of all of my block letters to my vanishing point right there. Now I'm going to start working on these bottom corners. Now it's interesting, right? So if we look at this corner right here, the corner of my R, and I line that up with my vanishing point, nothing gets in the way. So I'm just going to... And even this corner right here, I'm going to put my ruler there. I'm going to put my ruler here. But something's really interesting here. Do you see how it's hitting between this corner of my R? Right here, you can see it poking out. And there's the E right there. So what I want to do is I want to draw my line, but I'm going to stop as soon as I hit that E. Right? Because I want my E to look 3D. That rhymes. And so if I drew it through there, it wouldn't look like a solid object anymore, right? So I want to stop the minute I hit another letter. So, and you can see here on the R, there's my vanishing point, there's my corner, and I'm going to go, and then I hit the other part of the R, so I'm going to stop right there. But now you can see my R looks like it's 3D, okay? So I'm going to erase those lines that I had put in there, and I'm going to keep making those lines, always being sure to stop if my corner hits another letter. Boom! All right, now it looks like all my letters are 3D and popping out. So now if I want, I can go over all of these lines that I have going to my vanishing point and go in and trace over them to make them darker. So again, they really pop out. All right, so boom. Now I have a 3D block letter version of my name that is popping out from the vanishing point. And so now I can take my eraser and all those light lines I made, you can see in my letters and kind of that squibbly mess here at the top, I can erase that. I can also erase my horizon if I like. Now that that's done, if I want to take that a step further, I can even add shading. Now remember, it's important to think, where is the light in yours? So I think I'm going to make the light coming from mine kind of over here, so that we know then that the tops are going to be pretty light. This is going to be darker because it's facing away from my light source. These are going to be darker because anything that's on this side is going to be darker. and things that are down here, and that's going to be pretty dark, right? Because that's totally covered up, because that's inside my art. So I'm going to add my shading now. All right, boom. Got that in there. I tried to make it so, because I knew it'd be dark at the bottom of my V, and then try to lighten it up towards the top right there so it kind of shows the shadow that's being cast on there. So there is my reads. Now I'm kind of also looking at like the tops of these letters and the white and how the white matches this. So like I know that actually if my light source is over here, then the fronts of my letters are also going to be shaded. So I'm going to need to make those even a little bit darker. Boom! There we go. Name is done. 3D block letters with a vanishing point. Now, if you want, if making your name is too long, if you got a big long name, or you just want to start out, you can even just start out by doing one of your initials, like an R for Reeves. Make your vanishing point, get your straight edge, and start drawing those lines to your vanishing point, and then put in your shading. Or you could even do your vanishing point with your cube, right? And then you just start with your square. And I have my cube going to my vanishing point as well, which makes me think maybe some other decorations I could put up there. Like maybe I could put a star, right? And then have those lines disappear into my vanishing point as well. You know, jazz it up a little bit. All right, crew, have fun. I'm excited to see what you create. Be sure to post your work in your Padlets.